So it seems Representative Anna Paulina Luna is teaming up with AOC on a bill to cap credit card interest rates at 10%. Interesting. Anna, sweetie, darling, do not do this. Nothing ever good comes of Democrat legislation. I find it very curious that you're willing to hitch your wagon to legislation that is co-sponsored by AOC, of all people. Now, I get it. If this is a plan to sabotage the legislation, have you been talking to Senator Marco Rubio? Could be. Then, yes, absolutely, go forward. They are pretty easy to fool. So if that's the plan, I am 100% behind you. You go, girl. However, if this is a real thing, oh, darling, please be prepared for all of the expected consequences, the expected unintended consequences. Now, we fully expect them. They will be completely unexpected by them when this bill finally, if this bill finally passes, because the credit card companies, they're just not going to comply with this. Oh, they'll comply. They'll comply with the law, but there's a lot of money on the table, and they're not going to walk away with that, and they're going to find a way around it. They're going to find a way around it because it's a big market, and while personally, I think a lot of credit should be harder to get, all kinds of credit. Credit cards should be harder to get, car loans should be harder to get, house loans should be harder to get, student loans should be a lot harder to get. There's nothing wrong with mutually agreeing to borrow money. There's nothing wrong with mutually agreeing to lend money. So we do not need the government meddling in this because they will find a way around it. I thought about how they might find a way around this, or things they might do that you better plan for because they're not going to give up the money. So what could they do? Well, first of all, the most obvious thing, a lot of them might just stop issuing credit cards to high-risk individuals. That's the easiest plan. If someone is at credit risk, just stop issuing them credit. Boy, you know what the Democrats are going to say. But if they do keep issuing credit or have to maintain accounts that already exist, okay, here's some other things they could do. They could create things called pay down limits, meaning they'll give you $1,000 of limit on your credit card. I don't know if that's good or not, but then they'll say, okay, you spend up to that limit, before you can use it again, you actually have to pay it down to like $200, right? Before you can actually run up charges again. They could require auto pay on these accounts. And when the banks figure out when you get your paycheck deposited and conveniently auto pay on that day, yeah, people are not going to be happy about that. What else could they do? Oh, that's right. They'll just raise the minimum payments. So instead of being able to buy something and pay the minimum payment, which is interest plus just some little tiny amount, they'll just make the minimum payment like 20% of the balance. Okay, people can't afford it now. They're really not going to be able to afford it with that. But hey, and then finally, instead of charging interest, they could do something like change it to payment insurance, an extra monthly fee, which will somehow skirt the anti-fee legislation, and they will sell it in a way that you just pay this payment insurance, and if you happen to skip a payment, don't worry, the payment insurance will cover it for you. Of course, by this time, you have already paid way more in these insurance premiums than the payment you missed because they're not going to lose money on this. But of course, with the Democrats, you always have to wonder, what are their ulterior motives behind this? And believe me, it's not AOC planning this. It's somebody way, way above her pay grade. If you do this and you cut off people from easy credit, you open them up to not being able to cover that sudden, unexpected expense that the Democrats carry on about most Americans not being able to afford. They use their credit card for this. And if they don't have a credit card, then what are they going to do? And that lands this issue squarely in the hands of the Democrats for them to use as a foil for other cockamamie schemes like universal basic income, Medicare for all, loan forgiveness, student debt forgiveness, and all kinds of other welfare programs because, yes, Americans just can't make it in the Trump economy. Oh boy. So watch out, Representative Luna. These are dangerous people you're dealing with. You know I'm right.